Hey guys, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessTrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing okay. Kind of a bittersweet day for me. I just literally tweeted out. As you guys know, I was so enthusiastic, so happy for two out of three of my son's teammates. They went to the U.S. Open, and two out of the three guys won gold in their division, in their weight divisions. I was very very ecstatic the whole day. And then I found out the news. Some of you guys might know, some of you guys might not. It's starting to make the rounds on social media that my mentor, Meyer Hoffman, passed away. And it was kind of shocking. Very very shocking. Again, I attribute a lot of what I've been doing for years and years and years, kind of to him. I sat there and watched him for years and years. Sat behind them, and it was just a great atmosphere at that time when I started trading. And I always make reference to him, and I always found his tidbits and little pieces of advice, pretty awesome. And it was a little bit of a shock. It was a little bit of shock. And it's part of life. It really is part of life, and that's why I always keep on telling everybody, have great people in your life, have great mentors in your life. And again, for all you guys who don't know who Meyer Hoffman is, just Google him. Just Google him, and you'll see the difference between a guy who's made just a tremendous amount of money trading stocks and was a partner of one of the biggest prop firms, generic trading, where I started out, and just a good guy, just a good dude. And it's a shame, but unfortunately, it's part of life. And again, that's just it's just one of those scenarios. It's just one of those scenarios, that you just have to just move on. It's just a shame. It's not a family member, obviously, but it still sucks. It does still suck. So hopefully, again, everybody just say a prayer for all everybody in your lives, and hopefully everybody is doing well. Just kind of a somber note there. But listen, it's all part of life. We're all here, and we kind of share everything. That's what we do. That's what we do. The good, bad, and the ugly. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about the market. So today was definitely the day, right? Today was definitely the day they were going to sell off the market. The market was going down. Everything was bad, and everything was bad, and everything was bad. And the next thing you know, things stopped going bad. And what really looked at it technically was this 2267, 2268 level who held for the second consecutive day. And unlike yesterday, that the market started rallying back around 10:30, 11 o'clock, the market started rallying back, towards the end of the day, after the 2:30, you saw this really, really strong, very, very strong reversal into the close. A lot of the FANGs, beta names, started turning around. And one of the most important things we always talk about, the only group that fund managers look to buy on dips are the FANGs. Your Googles, your Teslas, your Amazons, your Netflix, your Facebook, your Priceline, your Apples, obviously. And that's what happened today. Apple was selling off, and somebody in the live webinar said, what do you think about shorting Apple? I was like, don't short Apple. Not because of what we know after the fact is the earnings, because of the fact is that they're going to buy the stocks. They're going to place bets on a continuation of, what used to be really, really good. And the moral of the story is that's what happened. Not because of the Apple earnings after the fact. Yeah. After the fact, it was just just earnings. But if you look what happened, into that dip, right, into supply, they brought it right back up. So you're talking about a move from 2062 back to like 2133, and then the earnings came out. And then obviously, yada yada yada, everything is up after the market, right? Everything is up after the market a little bit. So we're going to need to see what happens tomorrow in the reaction, in the reaction of all beta, right? Well, all beta goes, but until then, this is going to be the pivot here, guys. This 2267, 2268 level on the close, and that's going to be kind of the line in the sand until the next line in the sand, which is this whole area here, this 2257. And if we break that, we'll all the way down to this 2249 level, which is the rising 50-day moving average. But again, we don't want to put the cart in front of the horse just yet, right? We don't want to put the cart in the horse just yet. The most ironic part about, we always been talking about for years and years, and that we see the most value, right? We always see the most exaggerated moves, the most, people chase that first hour, which is still true. But what I'm starting to see, and I think a lot of us in the room are starting to see as well, we're starting to see a lot more value coming into the market after lunch. Like today, for example, there were, let's just see here. Let's see here. And I'm just seeing my notes. Today, after 12 o'clock, this is after lunchtime, there was three or four pivots after lunch. This is after like 1, 2 o'clock. In the morning session, we had some decent stuff as well. But the most important part is, again, the game has changed so much, and every single year it changes with us. It's amazing to me, and I said this in the room today. After the trading day, the trading day actually turned out to be okay. I turned around and I said, well, it's so funny that I could look at these, all these 10, 11 stocks, like literally the FANG names, and I really don't have to trade anything else. I mean, I like to trade other things, right? I like to trade other things, but it's so ironic how these things really are the only group who just give you opportunity every single day. They really do on both sides of the market, and it's really amazing. It really is amazing what you can accomplish while you wait. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about all the pivots today in the room, and we'll go from there. The best one was the Tesla pivot, which I didn't take. I reacted to it late. I forgot who it was in the room. I think it was Bert who said in the room, "Hey, Dan, what do you think of this 50-75 pivot on Tesla?" And I go, "Hey, let me take a look at it." It was already 51 offer, and not that it was 25 cents. You couldn't buy it aggressively through 51. I was like, "Hey guys, if you can get it closer to 20.75, take a look at it." And look what the stock did, and the stock went just really went without me. I mean, really aggressive move without me. I caught another pivot towards the afternoon on Tesla. It was actually perfect. I sold 2/3 of my position right into supply, literally within a couple of pennies within supply, which was good, which was a fast 65 cent push right into supply before its stock sold off. This is the one here. This is the one here that I mean really wanted it. It really wanted it, and I didn't get it. PTLA guys, congratulations for all you guys who did take PTLA in the room. I put it out there at 2650, right? The 2650 area. This is something that was on our watch list for a very long time, and it finally consolidated. And I always say, guys, the longer the distribution, the bigger the move. And this was a distribution that went all the way back to like the last week of December. You know what I mean? We're in February. We're the last day of January, and it broke that 2650, went to 2780. I know Neil caught a good chunk of that trade, so congratulations there as well. For all you guys who did catch LTRX, I did not. I was just like concentrating things. We talked about this 225 break. It went to like 243. Again, not a huge move. Facebook towards the end of the day. Again, this is another example of stocks that we talk about towards the end of the day. So here was the pivot right here. Here is the pivot right over here. We talked about, hold on, it looks a little weird. Where was the pivot that I was talking about? Oh, right here. Sorry about that. Yeah, 29.93, right? 29.93. I even tweeted it out. 29.93 was the pivot. I know Bark Trader took some as well. Stock, I mean, just really exploded. Obviously, the biggest move here is obviously after the Apple's earnings, but you can clearly see a nice move there. NVIDIA is one. I don't know how many of you guys actually took the trade. I know I didn't. I was already logging off at the time. I gave the group this pivot right here, which was, where was it? What was it? Right here. It was this pivot right here, 109.50. I don't know how many guys traded it, but from what I've seen, I logged off after stock went to 110-ish. So if you took a good job, if you didn't, well, that's that as well. Also, I bought this RTTR. I'm still in it. I bought it at 950. This was off our watch list yesterday. I bought it a little late. I bought it at 50, 350, went to 370. I didn't make any sales. I'm holding on to it. I'm holding on to it today. I'm down like 8 cents in the trade, but I'll hold on to it. PIRS, I finally closed out my balance of my position. I sold it today from 217 to 219. Most of the sales came from 218, 219. My last little piece came at 217 from the 195 area. CGX, again, I continue to hold half size there from 195. So that looks good. EVOK, congratulations, guys. Right off the watch list, we had EVOK. A nice move there. Nothing wrong with that. 295 went to 315, 20% move before this thing rolled over. The only thing that really didn't work today, and also a couple of other things. NUGT, actually, two people I knew took the trade here. We talked about this pivot pre-market 1070. Stock went to this 11 area. The only thing that really didn't work was a very, very aggressive move, which was on Netflix. We talked about earlier. Pre-market above this 4130 area. And you can't really, I'm looking at this thing and I said to myself, I thought it was only like a 20, 30 cent move. I wasn't able to get the trade, but this thing went from 4130 to 4183. It was about a 50-cent move. It looked like, for me, from when I saw it, it was very, very thin. So that 50-cent move upwards was kind of skewed, and then obviously it came back in. But overall, again, just a lot of pretty decent moves. You know what I mean? Pretty decent moves, and we are definitely continuing to watch the ranges. Again, I think the first hour of the day now is slowly but surely, really changing now. Really is changing. I'm really starting to find a lot more value on the second and third candles, because again, you could get that. You can get those value shares without everybody being in this trade, and it works kind of good. So going into tomorrow, again, we kind of want to see with how these FANGs react off Apple's earnings. Apple's earnings seem to be pretty decent. 3% move overnight. I want to see how these things react. If these things start going from green to red, Amazon and Google, and Tesla, stuff like that, then this market's in for pretty rough spat. But you want to give it the benefit of the doubt, because again, technically we did hold that 67 level, right? We did hold that 2267 level and then bounce. So let's talk about some ideas for tomorrow. Again, obviously all the FANG names, let's talk about them. Let's definitely talk about them tomorrow morning. Okay, tomorrow morning at Morning Strategy. Definitely talk about them then. Let's talk about some other names that are not FANG related. I kind of like this TRVN. We talked about it this afternoon. Stock put in a pretty big move, pretty big move here, about a 6.5% move. Keep an eye on this thing through $7, guys. Closes 698. Keep an eye on through $7. Nice looking chart. AXGN, another name that broke out today. Trade's a little thin, but I don't think there's a lot of risk in this trade. Stock put in a high of 11 on the Bollinger Band, closed at 1090, buying through 11, 10-cent risk. Juno is waking up again. Trade's a little bit thinner, like a lot of these biotechs. This is the first close over supply. A break above 2155 can get this thing going as well. XRA, a little mineral resource name, a little gold name, flagging now. Looks like it just needs to get above the 200-day with a 105 break. TAT, a little oil name. Keep an eye on that, guys, as well. TAT, nice little oil name as well. Break above 130 looks interesting. EXAS, nice looking chart, guys. Nice looking chart. Set an alert, folks. I think a break above 1940 should get this thing going. Looks like it's coming up. And FEYE, Trump was talking about cybersecurity, this, that, the other thing. This is it. This is cybersecurity along with CYBR, along with PAN-W. Keep an eye on this thing. First close over supply. I think a break above today's high of 1366, 1367 can get this thing done. So definitely keep an eye on that. So a little bit, again, like I said, bittersweet kind of day for me. Very, very proud of our kids. And again, when I say our kids, when you spend, my son's been doing, for example, Taekwondo and now competing in tournaments for years now, but he started doing this from the age of 2.5. Okay. So I know all these kids literally for 6.5 years. I know these kids from the baby, so they're like my kids. And it's very, very exciting what they accomplished today. But it's also very bittersweet today. Unfortunately, when I hear about, a guy that had such an instrumental part of my maturing just as a trader, it is very bittersweet. But again, God bless everybody, guys. Stay healthy with God, God's help. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.